You're on, Vince.
Welcome to Let's Talk Freedom, where talk is cheap, but at least the thoughts are free. Another episode in installment starring Andre, Brock Lee, Urban Country, V to the W. Who are we missing here, guys?
We're missing Rob.
Oh, Rob, we miss you, brother.
Hope everything is
For
okay,
those of you
Rob.
Yes, sir.
yep. Rob is a staunch libertarian. He believes in your rights to be whoever you want to be without any interference. You probably won't like him if you're a liberal.
Good people.
Now
Good
I
people.
just made some enemies.
Y'all gotta
My
excuse me.
working percent.
Y'all gotta excuse me because I was just finishing up my dinner before I got on air. It's been a long day. It's been a super long day. Um, so I'm sorry. Excuse me. Kind of rude. But anyway, how you guys been?
Oh, doing all right, man. You?
I'm doing pretty good. You got a topic. What kind of topic you guys are bringing tonight for us to talk about?
Oh, you want to jump into it right now? Okay. So real quick, I'm sorry, I got it twisted. Um, well, what's you guys' take on the schools reopening for children? The whole hot debate of whether they should keep them closed, keep kids at a distance, and all during this pandemic.
Well, you got kids. Let's hear what you got to say about it.
Shit, man. I personally, I don't think they should be going to school. I mean, luckily mine aren't old enough to go to school right now, but I don't think kids of age should be going to school strictly because I mean, you're in small hallways, you're in classrooms, it's not circulated. I actually just read today that for some reason now the WHO is saying that your biggest concern are aerosols with COVID, which I saw that report months ago from an article in South Korea, and
Hmm.
also a demonstration from a Japanese doctor. They were more concerned about the virus being an aerosol than just droplets. But in schools, it's really hard to ventilate and keep those kids in social distancing manners. So me personally, I say keep them out of school. Got to try to figure out a way to school at a distance. I don't know the answers on how they're going to do that because from what I hear, it's not going too good. But what about you guys?
So, I got kids at school age. Um, I only have one that's not school age right now, and my kids aren't going to school.
No,
What? No. Whether
why
they
not?
whether they open it or not, they're not going. And it's a little bit okay. So we made this decision when they closed school uh last at the end of the year last year, or end of the school year, when they decided that stuff it was so serious to just go ahead and close schools so abruptly, um basically in the middle of the year, and move to the transition of online learning. We we um we made that decision that they weren't going to go back to public schools or into the regular school system. um my son is in the chat. Say hi, Dad. Hey, Alon. um but we decided that our children aren't going to go back into that school system, especially when we have the curricular online. um because a couple of reasons. First of all, when they're at school, they're gone away from us for so long in the daytime. Um, I don't like the fact that when you actually send your child to school, you actually don't, your child is not yours anymore when they're in a school building. Um, the school assumes responsibility over the child, so they can actually, they have certain rights, which, I started looking into that. I really don't like them having that much rights over my children, um, for the sake of education. When we're living in the age of information and education is so available, at the fingertips. Um, so they after this summer, and we were watching and see what they're going on with. Now I got two older kids that are in high school that are looking coming up to graduation in 2 years. They're the ones that it really hurts, because high school kids, that's where your that's where your whole life is in school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's all your friends, your whole social, everything is revolved around school. Yeah. So I mean, they were the ones that had a toughest time about it than anyone else. Um, but I have smart children. Um, we talk. We talk a lot, and we really don't hide anything from the children. Like we just we speak openly and freely. So they see a lot. They see a lot of what's going on, and they see one of the big things that they really realized right away when they started the online schooling is that they were they were trying to mold them, right?
Okay, you all right? Your
Huh?
picture disappeared.
My picture disappeared?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
CIA over. Or what's going on?
You can hear me, but you can't see me?
I hear
Yep.
you, man. I'm kind of worried about you now. There's no black helicopters overhead, is there?
No, 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 there's no black
We haven't arrived
helicopter.
yet.
I don't know why it turned off my video.
That was weird.
That was super
Yeah.
weird. I don't know why I did that. But anyway, like I was saying, so like they realized as soon as they started learning from home that they were they were feeling like they were being indoctrinated, right? So especially after the COVID thing started now all of a sudden all the lessons that they were doing online had to do with social distancing, had to do with masking, had to do with the world changing. And mind you, we have elevated conversations at home, like really elevated so they're looking at this stuff and they're like, wait a minute, this is it just they're starting to see like real crazy stuff. And then so that kind of helped him to understand why there probably shouldn't be going back, right? Regardless
Gotcha.
of whatever was going on with the virus, right? Just they realized just being able to step back and seeing what we were working on at home. Because one thing I did was I said, okay, you know what? You guys gonna have a school day, so we're gonna have a school day at home. You had a school day at school, so we'll do it at home. But instead of just doing a blanket thing where everybody's gonna learn this and everybody's gonna learn that, you, Rihanna, what's your interest? My interest is acting and film and things like that. So we started working towards that. She ended up starting a YouTube channel behind it. Um, my nephew Kashilo, his interest was into like mechanics and stuff like that. So when I would give him projects, gearing towards the things that they liked, and the things that they wanted to do towards their future, and they enjoyed that a lot more than the school building. So we kind of made that decision just regardless of what Corona was doing. Go ahead. I'm sorry to take over the
But
conversation.
no, 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 it's good. But do you think kids should be sent back to school? What's your opinion about that? Not
Um,
just yours particularly, but all children.
no, I don't. And there's a lot of studies. They're coming up with studies. The thing about the stupid studies is you don't know what to believe. Like they're all studies. They're still studying. They're still studying.
Yeah, but you
So
can always check Snopes if you need to know what to think for yourself.
right? Yeah, seriously, but because that's the thing. That's the thing about the studies, man. They're all still studying. This thing is so new and there's so everything is so upside down and every day they're moving and trying to figure things out and trying to figure things out and trying to figure things out. So
Well, I checked Snopes, the CDC, and the WHO all know what they're doing according to who told me how I should think.
right,
So
right.
I'm not sure where you're going with this.
And so here's what I'm here's my real answer to it though, John.
He knows what I'm doing, broccoli.
Yeah. Broccoli knows, but
I'm just messing-
the real answer that I want to give you though is that absolutely not, because the only reason for schools to be forced to be open right now is to revive the economy. And I mean, what kind of toss up is that? Like, is that even a toss up? Like the children versus the economy? Let the economy go to hell. Who cares? It's money. Print more. Fuck you print it anyway. It ain't backed by nothing. So print more. I mean, don't you know what I mean? Like, don't you're not gonna. I don't think the children's, because we don't know what the effect on the children is. Like, we don't know. Yeah, they saying, yeah, they say that it doesn't affect them and it doesn't. But how do we know that? Because we're still studying. We haven't taken the test yet. We're still studying.
Yeah.
Well,
So what about you?
by you mean me.
Yeah.
How you doing?
V
So,
to the
Well, no, let's ask
W.
Rob. Wait. Let's ask Rob what he thinks. Rob, what do you think, Rob? Oh, he's not here.
we love you, Rob.
Yeah,
Um,
man. Stay good, bro. Make it
it's a
happen,
tough
bro.
one, broccoli. We're too early in. I'm gonna change my name to cauliflower, like Macaulay
Macaulay
flower.
flower.
McCall.
There you
Yeah,
go.
something clever like that. You nailed it, man. You ruined my name. Um, so there's different ways to approach the subject, and I'm kind of like, okay, the school lunches are funded by Monsanto. I'm pretty sure they're made with genetically modified crap, and they expect us to feed our kids that safely. Um, you see where I'm already headed, way
Right.
off into left
Yeah.
field with. I don't think the school system necessarily cares about our children. Um, I think to be PC, they're going along with it. We still have extremely low death rates, and I guess that throws me into that crowd of people. They're like, "Oh, you're face max. You hate puppies and grandparents, and you hate kids because you won't." No, no, I wear my face mask everywhere. Um, I just noticed that the people that are wearing them still die. So I'm kind of in a gray area. Should we stay on lockdown as far as schools go? I kind of am at peace with my kids learning from the computer. We have the technology, they can get the same exact thing. We have teachers still being paid, they get to learn, they get to teach, pardon me, from their homes. And some of these teachers are really good. They actually love their jobs. So
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it personally. And as a direct answer to your question, um, it's an opportunity for parents to have a little more input and a little less indoctrination when our backs are turned. I remember listening to my son. He's older now. He's a coast guardsman. Thank you for your service, boy. Thank you to all my other coasties out there who may be listening. I know there's a lot of libertarians and pirates out there, shallow water pirates, for those of you that get that. But he would come home with some really crazy stuff his teachers taught him. Not all, just specific ones. And I had to re-explain into reality what he had just learned so that I could have him unlearn it. And that is our responsibility as parents. There's look at the average message out there unrelated to school. How often is it true? We can only check Snopes and know.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Everything was true but the Snopes part.
And a disclaimer right there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Look,
with you,
I
man.
always had a problem with that. Was some one guy who's nailing a porn star. He's getting money for his website and he uses it to pay the porn star to have sex with them, who he eventually leaves his wife for. And that's who you want to be your final authority. Come on, let's at least stick to the game. The game is, if you've ever done anything wrong, you're a liar. No one can trust you. Just leave it at that.
Real deal. Real deal.
There's
Real
no
deal.
growth. There is no growth.
There's no
What
what?
about Well, I said there is no growth.
You know, but my serious, that topic though really rubs me wrong because just like you just said, everything can be done from home. There is no absolute real need for those
There is,
children to be in that
but there is
country.
because okay, so you also have big pharma. Pediatricians make a killing off of sick children
Hmm.
vaccinations. If you make vaccinations mandatory for kids to go to school,
Hmm.
they're going to get funded like that. They're probably going to get bonuses getting pushed like that. People, this is all just my opinion. It could all just be
It's not a
hooey. It
thing.
could be the
No,
truth. It doesn't matter. It's just my opinion.
we don't even have
Um,
to go with your opinion, Don. I mean, on those lines, let's look at some facts, though. We don't even have to go with your opinions. Let's look at some facts. Fact is, there's a lot of kids that are supposed to go from sixth grade, or sorry, from eighth grade to ninth grade, and from fifth grade to sixth grade. All these children have to get shots.
yeah, and not just that, but so you're making the money off of that. If parents don't choose to vaccinate and the COVID's still running rampant, children are going to get sick. They're going to go see pediatricians because they're children doctors. If
Hmm.
they're not too bad to go to the ER, even paranoid parents will constantly bring their children to the pediatrician.
Hmm.
Now, also, you have the effect of the child bringing sickness home.
Hmm.
So now you also get the adults involved, and big pharma wins.
See,
The
but
medical
my thing is like we
industry.
don't even have to go that far. Like we don't even because that kind of sounds like people could listen to that and say, that kind of it's kind of far fetched and it's kind of what if and if this and if that. Even though you're right on the money, right? It still can people could still think that way. So I would rather point out the fact. Okay, let's look at the bus companies, the school buses,
Yeah.
all those bus drivers, those school bus companies. They're not Broward like they're not like states or or county. These are private companies that have contracts. So all that money's getting missing. Like the school lunches money, you got all of that money getting missing. You got the uniforms. Walmart has got their aisles stocked with back to school supply. Like all of that money is not gonna be spent. Like all of you know what I mean? So somebody when somebody used to I used to listen to used to always say follow the money. Follow the money. And it sucks, bro. It sucks that they're using they're using our children, or they want to use our children to try to get back the economy. The hell with the economy, bro. The hell with it. That's that's how I feel. Let it crash. Let it crash. Rebuild. Like, okay.
But when do we rebuild?
ASAP.
Huh?
We're all living in fear. We're not allowed to.
What'd you say? We're not allowed
We're not
to?
allowed to rebuild ASAP. Yeah, we have to live in fear. I listened to the 201 from November 4th last year.
Give me
It's
one sec.
literally a mock-up of what we're going through right now.
Hmm.
For those of you about Event 201, and talking about like globalization, global takeover, big pharma, etc. Man, that if you listen to the exercise all the way through for the people that actually want to hear the economic side to it,
Hmm.
it's a beautiful thing. It's like literally anybody who can create a virus or bacteria, you fund and you make the wheels turn to the world.
Right. It's
You can
crazy.
tamper with bacteria. I mean, that's nothing new.
Right.
That's not touching on COVID. Wherever you over empower anybody, as the saying goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely. You give these people the power to make these executive decisions to stick your business, 6 feet under because whatever. And you just don't want to give that much power away. I probably lost people there, but we have a little bit more information in between us for those of you that are listeners that we kind of hover around. And one of them is going to be big pharma. Another one is going to be unrepresented taxation. This is a libertarian talk show, so we're going to kind of have that angle. And you also have the freedom to think and the novelty to think without being shut down, a la Facebook, a la YouTube, where they're getting a little bit zealous with who they shut down. Like, it's not resembling America at this point, how bad it's getting. So, anyways, somehow, V-line that back to you.
Go ahead, John.
I just got back.
Oh.
I just
Oh,
got back.
myself. What the hell kind of show are we running here, guys?
I was interrupted because 3-year-old was banging on the door, so I just had to, tell him he has to play. I'll be there in a little bit.
Right.
Um,
Good to be a
well,
dad.
huh?
Ain't it great to be a dad?
Oh yeah, I love it. Actually, today was a kind of a rough day because my oldest, my 19-year-old, was experiencing some swollen lymph nodes. So he's an adult now, but he's a man child. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to do his own. He doesn't know how things work yet, so I had to go meet him at the hospital, get him all signed in. It's just being a dad well, being a parent's a thankless task, man. Like
Yeah.
you're just constantly ripping and running for your children.
It's the best though, man. I can't imagine life without it. What
Yeah.
about you, Andre?
No, I can't imagine. So I mean, my firstborn completely changed my life. Like I was headed God knows where. You know what I mean? And he him being born threw me into manhood like right now. You know what I mean? Just like, okay, boy, like the games, forget about the games. It's time to play. You know, it's time to go ahead and get real serious. Vince has a pink screen.
He's hiding.
You hiding from us, bro?
No.
Yeah, but no, man.
Okay,
As far as the kids go, yeah, I mean, blessing. Just complete blessings all around. They drive you crazy, but nothing but blessings all the way around, man. Nothing but blessings. Nothing but blessings.
agree. And, that ties into the whole school thing. What do we all want? What's best for our children? I'm going to just interject, man. Anything. One of the reasons we do this show is just to bring up different angles of thought. So everybody here has a different thought on everything, and we're already friends. We all harmonize. You can obviously see that we're different types of people. That's one of the reasons why we show our faces, and we have an accord, man. We love the freedom of thought, and our intentions are for everybody's best interest. Like, don't sink anybody's ship just because yours isn't sailing. If anything, go help somebody build a ship. They may turn around to help you build yours. And I know that seems like wishful thinking, but at the end of the day, we just want to create a world that's fair and safe for our children. Let that be crystal, crystal clear. If you identify as a liberal right now, or a Democrat or a Republican, I don't care. We don't care. We want the world to be safe for our kids. We're not talking about everybody doing these ridiculous hurdles and totalitarian government stuff. We're just talking about individuality, man. Every single one of you has the ability and the power to make a good decision that protects children without encroaching on somebody else's freedoms that are not harming anybody.
Well said, bro.
Thanks,
Well
dude.
said. Very well said. Very well said.
It's a white people thing. I'm sorry. White people high. We even redo our high fives. It's true.
You gotta
Just
point the elbow to it before you do it. Am I the only person that sees Miss Shelly's sideways?
Asian people get so technical. You guys take it to a whole beautiful, graceful level. My gosh, have some mercy.
If you ever get bored and you want to see some straight on point stuff, watch. And I know I'm always bigging up South Korea. It's because I'm half, but they got into the B-boy game, the breakdancing game, and they have just blew away competitions for the last, I think, decade.
You're for real. Hey, and I have a guilty confession. My son sent me some music, my son from the Coast Guard, and he's got a great ear for music. He's a musician himself, did band and all that, grew up listening to me play guitar. Homeboy sent me this song, and I'm like, dude, this is so good. Come to find out, I'm listening to K-pop. I'm jamming to K-pop.
Yep.
Hi, beautiful
Miss Shelly.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How is everyone else?
Everyone. How y'all doing? Good? I'm doing good.
Got the stove on warm.
Very well.
We're waiting you to come and kick it up to medium high.
So, shall speak truth. What do you got for us today, Miss Lady? What do you have for us today?
Going on with me in my life, or that I'm having an affair. So
So you got it
I'll,
fixed up.
I'll,
Oh
I'll
my gosh.
I'll
So
definitely tell you to check it out, though. So at least,
let me guess. You're married to a Hispanic woman too, right?
yes, sir.
I'm, married
Cute.
I got a Cuban wife, bro. You got to be very careful what kind of women's things show up anywhere near you.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I've been hit just for existing one time through the mall. You know, like you didn't see that lady looking at you. What?
yeah.
No, what
Yeah.
lady?
You
That's the
better
right.
run in and yell surprise. You better do that.
I like them feisty. The temper is awesome. I'm also married to a Cuban, and I remember we had gotten into a heated discussion, and the next thing I know, I'm getting a high heel thrown in my back as I'm walking away.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
But it just shows, to me, it shows the passion within what we're talking about. You got to have conviction. I mean, there's no like there's no violence like that ever since that one time, but it was funny. I don't think she realized she was gonna hit me with it, but she told me that she had practiced with the chocleta or whatever it's called,
yep.
and she
Dale.
proved it, man. She had proved it.
Sniper. Shelly, what is the name of your page on YouTube?
My Shelly Speaks Truth. So
All right.
that's Shelly Speaks Truth on YouTube.
Yeah,
Check
for
it out,
those of you
people.
listening, definitely check it out. If you're from a libertarian perspective or just a rational person, great listening. I enjoyed it. And this is before I knew Shelly. I was just like, heck yeah, she's on the show too. And then come to find out she's married to Andre. So I was like, whoa, high five.
Oh
Thank you. Appreciate
my.
that.
You know what?
Okay.
This is a small scale version of the good life. People who are actually want to see everybody else benefit and prosper up. You don't get that with socialism. You're not going to get that with communism because those things have to have a bullet going through somebody's head to apply. But what we're doing here as libertarians, you can always build up your neighbor. You know, just building up the people around you, it has a ripple effect, and they'll start building up the people around them. And before you know it, that ripple effect makes its way out to the outer tiers, and everybody benefits. Another
Explain.
reason we would
Sorry to cut you. Explain libertarian again, because when you use that term, um, like me for instance, I hate to be put in a box. You know what I mean? I hate to be put in any kind of a box. Um, so just explain libertarian for someone that might not know exactly what libertarian is, because it's not a word. It's not a very popular word.
great. Good question. So we're gonna have to use the stereotypes, unfortunately, because that's how people identify to things. Um, with libertarianism, I was liberal. So first, I want to explain why I was liberal. I had no problems with anybody living whatever it is they want to live, as long as they don't harm someone else, and they deserve the freedom to do that. You know, I'm a lot older than a lot of my friends that I'm around by at least 10 years. So when I say things, they're a little bit outdated, but I can go back to those dates. You know, way back, we realized that groups of people were heavily suppressed and looked down on, and that wasn't fair. You know, I cannot make up somebody's sexuality for them. I can't make up somebody's like for me, I've married interracially. Now, we got all kinds of heat. People looked at us from both sides of the table and hated our guts. You cannot make up somebody's mind for them, and you can make them feel what you feel. That's not fair. Part of what the Constitution was founded on, and you know, people can argue whether it's always been that way, but that I'm not here to argue that. I'm here to argue here and today is that we have the right to pursue our individual freedom without somebody stepping in and saying you can't be that, you can't do that. And so having those rights is extremely important. Well, through the 90s into 2000, the liberals kind of got hijacked by what is a fascist notation that if you think differently than me, you don't even deserve to live. If you think outside the box, then you're, enter whatever derogatory word you want. If you can agree with this Republican on anything, then you're a Nazi. If you can agree with this Democrat on anything, then you're a statist. And it's not supposed to be like that. We're all at different parts of our journey, and we all deserve to have the freedom to think. And if you make the world socialist, if you make the world communist, if you make the world anything but free, you limit people's ability to be who they are, number one, and number two, to grow. And growth, I mean, that's kind of why we live. Everything is in perpetual growth or perpetual dying.
Yeah.
There's not really an in between. You don't just exist. Broccoli, you look like you got something to say. Let's talk.
No, no. I was actually saying I completely agree with that, man. I think people to should quit thinking that as soon as they hit a certain age, they know everything. That you should always want to continuously learn, because once you think you know everything, I mean, what's the point? I mean, me personally, I love just getting up and learning something new every day, or discussing something, some different point of view that might make me see something that I might have missed the first time over. And I really think, like, I 100% agree with allowing people to live they want to live, as long as it doesn't harm others or infringe on other people's rights. Um, yeah, that's something that I 100% agree with, and I'm glad you brought it up. And letting people know what libertarians are. I'm not a libertarian. At least I don't identify as it. I'm nothing. I'm just for people. That's it. The best interest that I feel is for people. It's my own personal. It's almost like a religion. It's just how I feel. Words wouldn't do it justice, but I completely agree with what you're talking about, because it does fit what I would say a lot of my views. I see a lot of my views in what you're saying.
Right. That- and that's the same way I feel about it. It's the same way because like every time I hear the word or because I don't like I said I don't like to be in any kind of a box. Like you know I check independent on the voter card just because I don't want to be in a box. You know what I mean? And I felt like that was a box in itself to be calling myself an independent, where I'm more on the side of where John is saying, to where my wrong or right comes from within, and I don't want to I don't want to n- take away from any idea just because I'm in this box. You know what I mean? Y- you kind of get me? Because all right, so saying that to say, like yesterday, somebody came in on a post, and he was saying something, asking me if you're a Trump supporter or something like that. Oh, because of the polls. I saw he kept on talking about how the polls, and how Trump is down and Biden is up in the polls. And so I was like, do you really believe these polls? And I have a whole other conversation about that. But his response to me was like, oh, so you support Trump? So my next question to him was, on what issue? Because like, what do you mean, do I support Trump? Like if he's falling, am I gonna hold him and pick him up? Like I don't even understand what that means. Like I really don't get it. Like if you're asking me, do I support how he feels on immigration, or do I? If you're asking me how he feels on the walls, yeah, I can give you answers for those things and real answers. But if you're gonna ask me, do I support Trump? But
Okay,
no,
so
no, no, I don't. I fucking
may I
no,
tie that back in to your
please,
question?
yeah, please.
So you're a perfect example of what it is to be libertarian. Um, Years ago, when Rob and I were doing the show, we were libertarians prior to knowing each other. And if it helps people to identify, and I know a lot of people are not going to get this, but if you ever see that flag that says "Don't tread on me," it's got the snake, it's yellow. Very common amongst military people who have seen the world all over and have seen what governments operate like, and very popular amongst libertarians because the principle is what holds. And I'm sure there's someone out there that's like, yeah, those redneck racist. No, no, no. You cannot be a racist and a libertarian at the same time, because that just boxes you into being a racist. A libertarian doesn't want to encroach on anyone's freedom because they value their own freedom. So systematically, it works very, very well. You don't want to snuff out anyone's freedom, because in doing so, you snuff out your own. And that topic can go on and on forever with legislation. Um, Before libertarianism was being recognized, one of the things that I would say on our old show, Let's Talk Freedom, was that we are libertarians till the name gets hijacked. And the person where this leads into the conversation you just had is that the person you were talking to is stuck in a left right paradigm. Their brain cannot process that there's anything in between these two hands. So they're stuck in here thinking you have to be one or the other. They don't realize you don't have to be one or the other. You know, you can really want high quality education for your kids. It's possible. And you can also be a Republican. Oh, wait, there's more. Just because you're Republican doesn't mean that you're against paying all taxes, although that might be the case. But maybe you just want highly represented taxation where every penny, like a good accountant, is accounted for, because you know that things are getting lost in the system. It is possible to be both these things. And it's possible to be benevolent and say, hey, I want to help people who are falling below poverty lines for whatever reason it is. I don't care. And you can donate as a libertarian, as a Democrat, as a liberal, as whatever. It doesn't matter if you believe in those things. But as a libertarian, I cannot go, broccoli, are you in the screen next to me?
No,
No,
I'm above
below.
you.
All right. Well, whatever view you're getting, someone's in the screen next to me.
Other
You
way.
have to fund what I want you to fund, or else you hate puppies and angels and you want to smash children. You see where I'm going with this? And
Yeah, it's
what
pretty
happens
much.
is the parties sometimes they get a little too much power, and they actually forget that they're public servants. And one of the beautifully refreshing things libertarianism is we remind you you're a public servant. You do work for us. And when enough people wake up to that, they will infiltrate you, not with violence, not with Molotov cocktails, but with thinking. And they'll step up to the plate and they'll convince the crowd, listen, this is the way you want to run things. And let me explain why. Not, this is the way you want to run things, or else you are a insert whatever derogatory term. So the guy you were talking to, he's stuck in a left right paradigm. He doesn't know that he's able to think outside of both of those yet. Don't give up on him.
And this guy's about 70 something years old. I mean, he was bragging on how
All right,
old
give
he is, how much older than me
up.
is, and it's just like, yo, dude, all right, you know, I told, you know where I left him off is, hey, bro, I'm gonna be talking about you on my show tonight, so you should be here to defend yourself. So,
He called you a fool. If I'm thinking of
yeah,
the same one, he
yeah,
called you a fool.
yeah,
You know what?
absolutely.
You got no time for that. You're anything but a fool, or else I wouldn't be on the show with you. Number one, because I don't associate with fools.
No, I'm a fool in my own right, bro. I'm a fool in my
No,
own
you're
right.
not.
And
Nope.
I've definitely been called worse too. So you know.
I have too, but that don't make it true. That right there, for people who already have lost the conversation or lost the battle or lost the war, whatever, that's
Yeah.
all they got left is to throw empty shrapnel at you.
Right.
Well,
Right.
you like peanut butter sandwich face.
I like that.
What does that mean? I don't know. I ran out of actual content.
No, but then then I really spooked myself because, like I said, this guy's I don't know this guy from Adam, but he was saying how he's 70 something years old, and with all the hostility, like he couldn't even give me a policy. So I'm like, okay, what policy are we talking about? He couldn't even give me one single policy. He has no idea, no clue. So I just went to his page and I went scrolling just to see, right? Just to see, just see what type of person this is. What does he post? Every post is about Trump. Every
Yeah,
single post is about Donald Trump. There's nothing that's not about Donald Trump. And this man is not going for Donald Trump. He's going against Donald Trump. Every
he's
post,
identity.
and
He
I
got
look,
stuck in that,
so
right?
yeah, bro. And I'm just like, and then I felt, then I went and I looked at his friends list, and I was just like, yo, I really feel sorry for these 81 people that have to see this every day. You,
Makes you wonder if he's real.
no, the guy is real. The guy's no, because fake pages they got more than 81 people on there.
Okay, that hurt.
No, seriously,
I
no,
feel like you said something viciously evil without actually saying it. That was
no,
clever.
no, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, no, because here's the real thing. The guy probably knows all of those
You
people.
and your 81 friends, huh?
I'm just wondering if like how these 81 people see this guy. If every day you turn on your you get on your times list, your friends list, or your news feed or whatever, and here's this guy blasting Trump about this or that or the other thing. Like it's so
That may
crazy.
be all he has happening in his world.
Yeah,
I've got
yeah.
the same ways on both sides, and I love them both, and it sucks, man. I just cut you off, Broccoli. I'm so sorry.
No,
Um,
no, you're good. I mean, he might not. I was about to go with what you were saying. He probably doesn't have much left, man. He's already pretty much set in his way. The only thing you can do is wish him well and hope that he does see some light or change that'll make him a little bit happier. Because I really don't know how you could be happy if you're just sitting around, uh, pardon my language, but bitching about one party or another. Like you have nothing to do. So on his, I don't want to dig in on this guy too much because like I don't know him. He doesn't deserve it. I wish you well, dude. Um, but if you're telling me that all he's posting is this, then it makes me feel sad for him because like you would think that he'd have a positive post on there, maybe like a joke.
Maybe a kid,
That
maybe one of his children, maybe a grandchild, maybe out to
something.
dinner or just some regular normal life rather than fuck Trump here or the hell with Trump here or this Trump there. And look what Trump's doing here and look what Trump is doing over there. And dude, you're calling this man's name so much you don't even realize how much you're advertising for him.
Well, maybe he does know.
that's something to be said about that. Oh my gosh. So, an anomaly is the silent majority. And for those of you that don't know what the silent majority is who may be watching, there's a large group of people. They don't post anything to their Facebook, they don't talk about it in public. It's kind of old school because back in the days, people didn't tell you, hey, congratulations, I'm a Republican. Are you? You just didn't do those things.
It didn't
You were
matter.
free to,
Humans
it
are
didn't matter.
humans. Right, right.
You actually liked people for who they were. You didn't hunt for a reason not to like them.
Not to like him.
And I mean, I can go on and on with that subject because it's a fascinating subject. Uh, we look for reasons not to like each other. That's just human nature, man. So that sucks. But anyway, back to the topic of conversation. I even have within my friends list people who just all day long, they're some of them worship Trump, and I'm just like, come on, guys, you got to know better than that. You never ever set a man up on such a
On a high
pedestal.
pedestal, right.
I teach Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Okay, I have 20 years of teaching it, and I won't even let my students put me on a pedestal. And it's very in martial arts, people are like, master this and that. I'm like, no, 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 don't you dare call me that. They're like, well, I don't mean anything bad by it. I'm like, I know you don't, but one of the reasons why I try to empower you, and this does relate directly to our conversations here on the show, is so that you don't ever feel like you're less than someone. You may not know as much as me yet, and I'll help you get there, but don't ever take that stance that somebody's greater than you, that somebody that you should bow to somebody. Get the hell out of here. I want to teach you to whoop my ass so that you know that all along the time that I was able to do it to you, I exercised restraint. I showed you what it was to be a good human being, and I brought you up with me. And that's kind of why I took on the philosophy that we have, that we're teaching on the show.
Awesome.
So you
Awesome.
got anything you want to add?
Yeah, you've been quiet.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually gonna get out of here, but before I go, I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on what you think the debates are gonna look like, the upcoming presidential debates, and do you think the third party candidate will actually get a chance to be in the debates?
So
I won't watch them. I don't have cable. I'll read about them. So I'm excited to see the mudslinging continue. It makes for great ratings. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, just my opinion. That's what Trump does best. He draws people in. He's an entertainer.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be interesting. Might not be a whole bunch of facts being thrown around. Just one guy calling another guy names and like, okay, sorry to take it off subject, but I had read today on my news feed. Um, I don't fact check. I'm not gonna source things,
Snopes.
but
Snoops
How
or
dare
Snopes
it
or what is it
appeared
called?
it
Snopes.
appeared in my news feed, and it said that Trump had claimed that he had done more for black people than I think he said Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, I
And
heard. Yeah, I heard that speech. That's how he ended his
okay, so
speech. Yeah.
see it, yeah. So these crazy claims, and because Trump's the best, he's got all the greatest words. He's so smart. He has big hands. Um, he's very um. That's pretty much my view on Trump. He is entertaining as hell. Hopefully Joe, if I do get to watch anything, won't bore me. He won't go down that creepy path of I love kids jumping in my lap, or just they're great sound bites that these guys are giving people while speaking live. And trust me, I just repeated what he said, so that's a sound bite. Hopefully no one takes it and blows it out of context, but
I don't want
it's
Trump to see
entertainment.
your face just attached to that one piece of loop.
Oh yeah.
That's how clever this world is, man.
Oh yeah.
I got your back.
Just like
Fear
that.
nothing.
So I mean,
What about you guys?
as we talking about how so with Trump, right? One thing I disagree with you on that, John, is that um he's an entertainer. He's not an entertainer. You're an entertainer. Rob is an entertainer. Lucci's an entertainer. Trump is not an entertainer. Trump is a businessman and tapped into entertainment to get to further along his business ventures.
But aren't all businessmen entertainers? They have to act a certain way to gain clientele. They
Well,
have to.
yeah, but I wouldn't call that entertaining. You know what I
It's
mean?
like
Because I
magicians,
don't
man.
consider myself an entertainer, but I'm damn sure a good salesman, businessman. I do put on an act to get what I need to get, but that it's an act, not entertaining. Like I'm not doing
But
it to entertain for entertainment. I do it for betterment of the business or the company or the paycheck or whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's not to entertain you.
but that is entertainment. You're providing a service for money, and regardless of how you really feel about it, you're acting a part. It's like magic. It's classic misdirection.
So you're just
You
gonna
know, you
call me.
get you get.
So you're just gonna call me a whore on national.
Hey, dude, if you are, then I am, and that do it. Come on. I mean, look, I love entertaining people. Uh, I find it great, but I mean, please take no offense in that.
I'm
To
just-
that, I'm just saying, to me, Trump is entertaining. Businessman, yeah, but he had to do a whole lot of acting to get that stuff done. I won't go into that though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel that. I can understand what you're saying because that's one of the things in sales training, especially on a showroom floor, a car salesman's floor, is that is when you walk through that door, you're on stage. You know what I mean? I don't care what the hell whatever you had going on at home or whatever you had going on in the car before you walk through this door, leave it in the car because when you get on when you're on a showroom floor, you're on stage. Like everybody's looking at you and every move you make is very important. So, you know, yeah, so yeah, I mean, you are absolutely right. It is an entertaining type of thing, I
What about
guess.
V to the W?
But it's kind of
Um,
go ahead.
uh,
Go ahead, V.
What about you, man? Well, are you interested in these debates? What are you looking forward to?
absolutely, but it's going to be so boring. So to jump on what Shelly was asking, I I've been libertarian long enough to know that our person is not going to get the exposure they deserve, or and when I say our, I mean other libertarians, not just everybody on the show. Um, so we're not going to get exposure. We're probably not going to even get fair press. If we start to gain momentum, they're going to do what they did to Gary Johnson, and they're going to disqualify his rationale because he did not know where Aleppo is. And for those of you that were there for that, it's like the only bad thing was Aleppo. And then we turn around and we vote for the lesser of two wolves, in my opinion. So coming up on this one, it's going to be fun. And I'm going to have to agree with Broccoli. Is it broccoli or broccoli?
Broccoli.
I'm changing my name to cauliflower for next week's show. Um, so
I'm staying
we,
urban country.
it, it's going to be entertaining. I have to agree with Broccoli that it's going to be fun to watch him because he sounds so undereducated, except that he's actually able to make huge business deals happen. And I'm going by facts. I'm not going by feelings. I realize you hate him, some of you listeners. I'm not going by that. We're not going by hate. This dude, for all the bankruptcies he's had way more success than all of us put together, probably even you put together. And if you've got more success than him and more Taj Mahals, make sure you message us. We need to get in touch with you. We definitely want you on our show.
Yeah, we definitely need some sponsors.
So that being said, the second, let's go back to when Obama was president. Um, the show, one of my favorite things to tell people is like, how did you find this guy for a VP? This guy is like Brick from the Anchorman. And any of you that's seen Anchorman, Brick he shouldn't even be talking. It's a shame. I don't want to make fun of the elderly. Whatever comes out of Biden's mouth is going to become a meme. This is going to be a wreck, dude. I'm sorry.
That's honest. Listen,
Democrats, my heart goes out to you that this is your candidate.
listen. This man is running an awesome campaign so far. The best campaign he could possibly run right now is to stay in the hole and shut your mouth.
I agree.
Stay in the hole and shut your mouth. Don't you come out of that hole. Don't you do no interviews. Don't you? You better weasel your way out of that debate. You best thing you could do is weasel your way out of. You better catch
All
Corona.
I love America. I love all of you. He wins.
Well, he's already messed up a little bit because I think there was a headline I saw that he said Trump. I think Trump is the first racist president, or
Yeah, he said.
it's like
Listen.
someone said you had one job, like
Yeah.
all you had to do was
Just
be
shut
quiet
up.
the whole
Just
time,
shut up.
and
Yes,
then when you start talking, you say that.
Thus my Brick comment. Did you watch Anchorman, Shelly?
Yeah.
Okay, so thus my Brick comment. It's like, don't say anything and you win.
Yeah.
Can you do it? And
Nope.
his hand goes up. I can do it. Let me tell you how I can do it. My hair turns blonde in the sun, and children love to play with my leg hair. Abort. This is not how you're gonna win.
No good, no good. You know,
No,
Yeah.
I hurt for him.
you know, but
Yeah.
it's crazy because that one of the things I'm gonna to set this up, right? I just had to take did anybody have anything that they wanted to say on that before I take, because I'm gonna take the conversation somewhere else. No?
Nope,
Okay. All
all
right.
good.
So
No.
I had to take a part-time job, right? Um, COVID, Corona, everything is crazy, right? So I took this little part-time job taking phone polls, doing surveys over the phone, right? Political surveys. And have any of you guys ever taken one of these things? Like, so,
Yes.
so I'm doing the polls, and I quickly realize, I quickly realize that this poll is not about taking information. Because when I heard that I'm doing surveys, I'm doing, political surveys, I automatically think what I'm doing is I'm taking information from you, and it's going to go into a database, and then they're going to report it, and you're going to hear on the news that this guy was up this percent and that guy was down this percentage, and I'm starting to make my calls, and I'm going through the script. They don't give you the whole script at once, right? Because most people aren't gonna go through the thing. So you have to ask the question, they give you your answer, then you click next, and you click next, and you click next. I start realizing what I'm doing is I'm changing people's minds. I'm not calling them to get information from them. I'm calling them to change their mind from this candidate to this candidate. And the way I'm doing that is by asking them questions. They're answering my questions, so they're starting to feel like they're given important information. So they start to tune in to what's really going on now. And then the next page comes and it's like, okay, well, now in this part of the survey, I'm going to read you 4 questions about this individual and tell me how each question makes you feel. Does it make you feel more likely or less likely to vote for this person? And then is it much more likely or much less likely? The questions, the comments would be like, this governor for the last 30 years, or not, for this governor over the last 20 years voted to um, voted to have these people pay $31 million worth of so and so to China, and the people are like, wait, what? What? No, if that's true, I really don't. And then the next question, they're like, what? Wait, what? But I'm just voting down the ticket, So what they're doing is, I mean, yo, America is smart, bro. Americans are smart, bro. These people like so what I'm doing is like basically I'm calling people that are just going to, all they know is they're going to vote for their president, right? And because they're voting for their president, they're voting all the way down the ticket one side or the other. I'm calling you not concerning the president, I'm calling concerning the House of Representative. In the House of Representative, you were going to vote for because you were going to vote for this candidate for president, so you're going to vote all the way down the ticket. Now I done told you 4 facts about this candidate, and you're like, wait a minute, this is who I was about to vote for. Let me go look at the other car, the other, and it just made me just put a little bit more into how this mind, they just
Yes,
all in the
bro.
mind everywhere you go, everywhere you look.
It's to limit the choices. So if I make you feel like you have 6 choices, that's amazing, right?
Hmm.
You got 6 choices in life. But John is like, or pardon me, Brock Lee is like, yo, you actually have 78 choices. V to the
Right,
W told you you got 6 choices. I'm like, was I lying? You have 6 choices.
right, right,
And
right.
Brock Lee's over there like, no, dude, 78 choices. And so people fall into the game. They're like, I didn't realize, and they don't.
And the other thing about that too now, all of the questions while you're going down, nothing about libertarian, nothing
No,
about a libertarian candidate, nothing at all. Like you would think that just does not exist.
we are the redheaded stepchild of politics.
Uh,
Get used to it.
There's a
Sorry.
fight, boy. There's a fight to keep it silent, boy. There's a big
Yes.
fight to keep it silent, and that pushes me towards it because anything that big government, big pharma, all big companies are going against, bruh, I'm inching that way. You know what I mean? That's the way I want to inch. You know what I mean? Like that's
And you
just
know how
me.
they have you ever heard how they passed the Federal Reserve Act?
How they passed it? What?
How they got the Federal Reserve Act passed?
Talk to me.
All right, there's this wonderful book for those of you that are studious within the audience, etc. It's called The Creature from Jekyll Island. So America was so awake at one point. Everybody understood interest rates on loans and everybody understood economics to the degree where if you were a banker, you were the redheaded stepchild and you probably were going to get kicked out of the party. So, in order for the Federal Reserve, which is a private bank, there's nothing federal about it. And the only thing they're reserving is their ability to tax you to death because you are paying interest on every dollar lend it to the US government to the degree that your great grandchildren, if they gave up their entire income, they didn't live off any of the money that they made, but they only produced large amounts of money. Let's give them all six-figure incomes. They still will not be able to pay back the debt incurred from before our current president. That's how the Federal Reserve Act. It's a scam. So that's a lot to chew on. But the way that they did it is they went into the news and they had a paid reporter to make the statement that the banks are up in an uproar over the new Federal Reserve Act. They don't like it. And so automatically the people's opinion, not liking bankers, was it must be good. But it was one of the biggest scams ever pulled on the Americans ever. So little homework for those of you that are digging the show, etc. Get into the Federal Reserve Act, get into the book The Creature of Jekyll Island. It lays it out. And libertarians like Ron Paul, who have been calling for an audit to the Federal Reserve, have been doing so for a reason. However, that will start the next great world war. So I'm going to leave that there.
Guys, with that being said, we do have 7th Ave in the building. 7th Ave is with us right now.
Economically, because they're the people that are in charge of that entire platform.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have wanted to get fired too. Like, I wouldn't want to host another season of The Masked Singer.
That shit was dope.
I mean, but seriously,
But no, but
have-
no,
he gonna sit there and be ranked by Ken Jeong for fucking 3 seasons? I'm
But
good.
think about it. He lost one of his biggest shows, which was Wild and Out, which kind of surprised me because he created the show.
And that could always go into a different platform. Like, you
No,
don't think
it
they can't come up with?
It can't go into a different platform
He
because
doesn't own it.
own the trademarks, which blew my stocks off because I'm like, I think he created the idea in 2005 and didn't have a trademark. Viacom, I think they said Viacom trademarked it in
But
2016.
there's nothing saying that he can't come up with a similar show on a different platform. Like
Yeah.
Diddy already said, oh, you can come to Revolt.
No,
Revolt's black owned.
wait, Luch. More than likely, there's a contract that says that it would be called a no compete.
No compete.
No compete.
Right. More than likely. Anybody doing any kind of business like that, is gonna have him sign a no compete. So I really highly doubt that he could just take that to another platform and create something even close.
But
He'd
what's
lose his ass with that.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry, but what's the likelihood that he's gonna have the support of the Black community? Because a lot of people they can't sue him and they don't support him because they say he should have never apologized. So
Well, he didn't have the black people support from before the shit happened.
So all right. So here's
It's
my
like
thing.
I
True.
don't
I mean,
I don't know
yeah.
anybody that rock with Nick Cannon. Nobody.
Not his music, but his shows,
No, I
yes.
mean at all. Like his movies is trash, with the exception of Drumline. That's the only thing passable. His stand up was terrible. That
But they
Chi-Town
were
movie he did
still,
was
the thing is,
terrible.
they were still watching it though.
No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing though. He's got a platform. He can't be that terrible if he's got that big of a platform. You know what I mean? Um, your opinion might be terrible. My opinion might be he's terrible. But regardless of what, he has a huge platform. And I'm gonna on Lucci's point though. On Lucci's point, I don't. I'm not gonna say that it's black people that got him where he's at. You know what I mean? Um, because me for one, and I consider myself pretty good at picking out talent. Like that's just a natural thing for me. Um, me for one, I never saw any real talent with him, but I saw him as a hard worker and I saw him as a go-getter, you know. So, but as far as like entertaining, I didn't see him. I never saw him as somebody entertaining. I did like I did like the last. I think he had a podcast, and I used to listen to a couple of times. I'd be scrolling through and I'd come across something he was talking about, and I like the fact that he he used his platform to start speaking truth and knowledge. You know what I mean? Start like education of people. Um, with this whole thing going down of what he said with melanin, I'm not into that world right now, so I didn't even bother to see the quote myself or to check it out for myself, but to just going off of what I'm hearing, let me just going off of what I hear John say, right? um what I would think, John, is that it's okay. Here, I'm gonna say I'm gonna put it to you in my terms. Can we all we everybody on this panel can agree that black people in America, or even not even just America, across the world, is um how do you call hold down held down? How do you call that?
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Suppressed.
Huh?
Op-
Suppressed.
Suppressed,
Oppressed.
Oppressed, yeah.
oppressed. And
Stereotyped.
and my thing, what I teach my children is, I have black boys that I'm not talking about the girls now because I haven't had these conversations with them, but the boys, I always have this conversation with them, and I always let them know that, hey, look, you might be suppressed, and you might feel suppressed, and it might be true, but you need to know that if you're not powerful, you don't need to be suppressed. If you're not more powerful than your suppressor, you don't need to be suppressed. Like, you don't need to suppress anyone that's less powerful or even equal to you. You just don't need to. And history has taught us that black people have been suppressed across the world forever. Why? My mind tells me we have to be a more powerful people. Whether
It's the
we know
melanin,
it or
bro.
not, whether we know it or not, you know what I mean? But we've been suppressed for so long that we have no idea who we really are. And I think that might be kind of along the lines of what he was trying to say. And I know none of you guys don't think I'm racist, you know, but reality is reality. If I'm running a race with somebody and I know that this person is going to beat me no matter how hard I run or how fast I run, it's not going to be about just running anymore. It's going to be about trying to trip him. When he's ahead of me throwing something at the back of his head, I might knock him out. If me and
Mhm.
Lucci is on a rap battle and I know Lucci's gonna kill me in a rap battle, I know he's gonna kill me because I'm not a rapper. He's a rapper. I can't, you know what I mean? But now I have to go and compete on stage with him. Dude, I'm not worried about my lyrics or what I'm worried about making sure his mic doesn't work, making sure the beat doesn't sound good. I might trip his ass when he's going on the stage so he might fall because I'm not as good as him. You know,
But
so
with that,
go ahead.
with that being said, um, if there's things that you're better at, and you know that you may be more skilled at and stuff like that. Even with that being the case, you still don't feel that you're superior to anyone.
No, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, so I
But
think that that's kind of what I think that some of the terminology that he used is what got him in the hot seat, because he was saying stuff like superior and I guess better. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't honestly. I didn't hear that part of it, but
Yeah.
I think, like I was saying, the conversation that he was having and the words that he was choosing to use, I think, is what got him. Because, like you said, even if there's certain things that you're better at and stuff like that, you still don't have that complex where you feel that you're better or more superior to anybody else.
I wish Rob was here tonight because Rob would have an interesting take on this. Rob said something to me one time when we were having a discussion about, about this. And um he said what he said is deep down, powerful white America. I'm not talking about the panel here. N- You know what I mean? I'm not talking about everyday white America. I'm talking about powerful white America. No, not you. Not
I'm
you
the
know what I
white
mean?
man.
All right? I'm not. I'm talking about powerful. And people get that. When we start talking about these race subjects, we
I'm broke.
really we really gotta differentiate that because we gotta remember it's 10% of the population and controls 90% of the population. You understand? So just because the 90% of the population doesn't feel this way, the 10% that control it, those are the people that we're talking about. You know what I mean? And we always got to keep that in mind. We always got to keep that in mind because people will understand. People say to me sometimes like, "Yo, you say some crazy stuff, but every time I see you, you with a white dude." Like sometimes it just doesn't make you know what I mean, like because you're not really paying attention to what I'm saying. You know what I mean, you're only picking up what you want to pick up. You're not really just like listening to all of what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But um
Isn't that human nature though, to clump people into an idea that may not actually be happening?
oh Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll I- I'll pick up on that, and obviously I'm going to have a much different view than what you would expect a stereotypical white guy to have, and I'm actually very
You're a
happy.
stereotypical white guy.
Yes, yes.
He's
I would never guess from that hat.
I use the word. You and me are too much alike. Shut up. Um, um, no, it's funny because we probably are. We're gonna have a conversation outside this. Um, so I grew up listening to Public Enemy. Anybody who listens to Public Enemy knows not only is it like the dopest rap that you can get, and that white people don't use the word dope, but I do. Um, Shock Lee, who wrote most of their music, or probably all their music, he hated white people. And it was a non-issue for me because I saw his motive. And Shelly, this is going to tie back around into the conversation about canon. His motivation was to see his people come to terms with who they are. As Andre mentioned, he goes, in America, a lot of the black community, they don't have an identity. Their only identity is going to be the past of America. And there's something very, very deeply profound that does need to be touched on for anybody who's American and you know, I can't speak for other countries, nor should any of us unless we're from there. But finding your identity. Shock Lee was presenting an idea through the format of music. Like I said, he hated white people. I loved his music. I saw what he was trying to do. He was not preaching a negative message. He wasn't even preaching hate. He was, in my opinion, this is coming from a white guy. I was like 14 back then. That would be 1989. So yeah, 14 years old, listening to jamming to Public Enemy. It would have probably been the funniest thing you ever heard, seeing a white guy walking down the street with his headphones on going, white woman, black man, black baby. White woman, black man, black baby. Black woman, black man, white baby. You guys don't know that song, do you?
Nah.
You know it, John?
I do.
All
I
right,
do.
so
Yeah, I knew John would.
I don't know,
I
broccoli.
mean, I never got into Public Enemy. That's just a little bit before my time.
That's a little bit your fault, my man. You got to fix that. Just kidding. So, you love Public Enemy. There is not a, if a rapper tells me he can't jam to Public Enemy, he doesn't get him, he's not a real rapper. See what I did there? I just lumped everybody in.
All in the one, yeah.
Yeah. So
And FYI, I never said I can't jam the Public Enemy. It's just I'm not
Okay.
familiar with that particular song. I know there's two big ones, The Fight the Power and He Got Game. Those are the ones I'm familiar with. Like, but at that time, New York rap, I was listening to like Nas and Wu-Tang, you know what I mean?
back in 1989,
Well, not 89, because I was 9 years old. I was listening to fucking
Yeah.
whatever fucking bubblegum pop shit was on the radio because I wasn't allowed to listen to nothing else.
there was a generational change there between Public Enemy, but Public Enemy is landmark. So anyway, back to the thing. Public Enemy, he had a Shock Lee wrote the music, Chuck D yelled the music out, and then Flavor Flav was kind of like background entertainment, like Meet Your White Boy.
Yeah.
He's the hype man.
All right, so I need my big gold chain and a clock. But what he was saying was very, very true, and he was trying to further the mindset of what was happening back then. So I just bring that up, man. That you've got people that their motive may be different, and their motive may be temporary. Maybe the motive is the guy, Nick Cannon, and I'm gonna have to play devil's advocate here. Maybe Nick Cannon is angry over what he just saw with George Floyd. Maybe he's angry of something that he specifically saw, and so he's just speaking out the side of his mouth for the moment. But maybe, you know, nobody in their right mind can completely. It takes a real ignoramus to lump everybody into the same boat,
Yeah.
and I don't think he's that. I think it was just a moment.
I did not mean to hijack the conversation. I just wanted to get Shelly's take on it before she took
I
off.
hijacked it. What you talking about?
No, buddy. This is a whole different topic change. What you got going on, Seventh?